Hi.
Hi. Hi. Hi. Hi. Hi, sis. Hi, beautiful family.
We're back again. Lesson 348. Sis is going to read it. Yes.
My turn.
Your turn.
Lesson 348. I have no cause for anger or for fear, for you surround me. And in every need that I perceive, your grace suffices me. Wow. I have no cause for anger or for fear, for you surround me. And in every need that I perceive, your grace suffices me. That's a big statement. In every need that I perceive, which means in every needful thought, whatever form it takes, your grace suffices me. But do I know it? Do I receive it? Do I accept it?
I think those two sentences are perfect for that's forgiveness and atonement in those two sentences.
It is. You're right.
That's pretty
And
good, Jesus. Very succinct of you. Recognizing that there's no cause for anything that I perceive with my senses because only God is here in truth. And so every need that I would perceive, it's already answered because there's just God. And by his grace, that is extended. I mean, we are in God. And when we locate ourselves in God, that's the answer to every need. He says you have one problem. You think you have lots of problems, but you have one that you think that you're separate. The correction is that separation is inconceivable.
Yeah, good point. So our Christ mind, our shared Christ mind, is changeless. And it's in that changelessness that his grace dwells, right? Perfect and eternally uninterrupted. Okay. So it's the only will that exists.
Yeah. Therefore, that's the only cause. It's the only thing that's ever going on.
How easy is that? Why are we doing all this study?
I don't know. Just erase the physical senses and that'd be good.
Okay, come on, let's just accelerate this.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Okay.
We're
I'll keep reading.
we're deeply taking this in together because in our shared joined intent is all power. Yes.
So I'm going to read it a third time. I have no cause for anger or for fear, for you surround me. And in every need that I perceive, your grace suffices me. That's it. All I need do is accept it, receive it, right?
Yes.
Okay. Father, let me remember you are here and I am not alone. Surrounding me is everlasting love. I have no cause for anything except the perfect peace and joy I share with you. What need have I for anger or for fear? Surrounding me is perfect safety. Can I be afraid when your eternal promise goes with me? Surrounding me is perfect sinlessness. What can I fear when you created me in holiness, as perfect as your own? May may I clarify that sentence? What can I fear when you created me in innocence, as perfect as your own? Which means it is changeless innocence. It is incorruptible innocence. It is eternal innocence.
Yeah.
And it is totally unopposed. That's what our holiness is. God's grace suffices us in everything that he would have us do, and only that we choose to be our will as well as his.
Wow. I'm really feeling how that all stitches together in this surrender, the imaginary will apart from God. And as we will with God, that means an undefended state, we get the direct experience of God's grace. We've talked at length about what occurs when we're just saying yes to God, how we fulfill our function and we're in the flow and nothing can be reduced or subtracted from the fullness of what we are. That's God's grace. And then you know what you are, right? It's through saying yes to God's will that you recognize that God's will is your will. There's that closing of the imaginary gap between what we think we are and what we really are at home in God. Never mythical me. God's grace suffices us in everything that he would have us do. Yeah. So beautiful.
Isn't it? Something that got me through a very difficult time a few years ago, when, you know, that period I went through, which seemed to be forever, and I think everybody goes through it. Jesus even speaks about it. It's where we dive in deeply in forgiving everybody and forgiving, our thoughts about the past, and also forgiving the body, because the body tends to give us quite a few forgiveness opportunities during that period. And so we're really withdrawing our projections from everybody outside of us and the world and the past. And then what the ego does is it doesn't really offer them all up to Holy Spirit. Instead, what it does, it morphs them and projects them onto us, ourselves.
Yes.
To try to prove that we are totally unworthy and insignificant, and that just forget it, we're not going to make it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the guilt is ramped up, but it's on us.
Yes.
And then we have to learn then that to crucify ourselves is just as mistaken as to crucify somebody else, right?
Right.
So it's the same old thing.
Yes.
But what was happening was that I was in great fear during that period. And that fear, of course, what it all boils down to is self-doubt, incredible self-doubt. And I was doubting myself like every few minutes about whatever was going on at the time. Even with my writing, I was still doubting that I was hearing Jesus' voice, because the ego in my mind was saying, who are you to hear Jesus' voice?
Right.
Right? That false humility.
Sure. Yeah.
And it all went through the roof. Well, you saw part of it, sis. And so this little thing helped me a lot, which was, where is it? I've got it here. And this is from chapter 10. in the introduction of the course.
Yeah.
When anything threatens your peace of mind, ask yourself this: has God changed his mind about me? That's such a great question. Has God changed his mind about me? And really feel into that. Invite him in. And it says here, then accept his decision, for it is indeed changeless, and refuse to change your mind about yourself. God will never decide against you, or he would be deciding against himself.
Yeah. That's that coming back to God and its creation is one. Yeah. And so its oneness is its changelessness. So even in response to the question, has God changed its mind? God's mind cannot be changed. And the mind that thinks it can change obviously is not, it's not our true mind that we share with God. Yeah. Isn't it amazing the self-doubt when we bring in our projections from seemingly out there, you know, it turns around and it becomes vicious against the self. And one of the forms that it takes is self-doubt, because a lot of times it'll plant itself in the body and we can be very certain, but then the body does something and through physical sense, and we get fixated on it, and then there's that 1% doubt, right? It's like, well, God is declaring this, but this seems to be going on also. And I remember, you know, really, it's like, boy, you were just on the mountaintop, so certain of your relationship with God, and then the body squawks one time, and you're just like, ugh! You know, and you completely forget what you knew a moment ago, right? How the
You're in
ego,
the depths of delusion, right?
yeah,
The darkness.
yeah. From the pinnacle to the depths in just one moment. But that really shores up that muscle of the body, and the five physical senses, you know, are under the ego's laws, but that's not true, and it's not a cause, and it has no effects. What the physical sense is perceiving has never been true. It's pure illusion, and Jesus proved that for us. And healings since then have all proven that what seems so real was nothing more than a belief projected out, so called. And when the mind is healed, the body harmonizes. Yeah. Yep. I remember that. Just going, where did you go? One moment you're there, and then, you know, just turning from the body, turn from its testimony to what God's.
Oh, we've got to look past appearances.
That's it.
The five senses.
Yeah, I think
You
that's
have
really
to,
big.
because they're made to report the opposite of God, the opposite of his beloved Son, which is what we are. And we have to. That's why we need to use true denial.
Yes.
Chapter 2, read it. True denial, right?
Yes.
And also to use the positive separation. But I see a lot of course students, like a lot, that are still trying to integrate this whole idea of mind, body, and spirit. Yeah. So saying that the body has reflexes, and it has intelligence, right?
Yeah.
And it really has a life of its own, and that we can become victims of the body.
Right.
So it totally discounts what Jesus tries to explain many, many times in the Course, that the body itself is entirely neutral and is a thought in our mind.
That's right. And I think that's, you know, well, so I have compassion for those who are studying and they go, okay, I've got it. And then the body seems to be doing something that the world says, well, that's serious, you know, and you start to look at the body, and the five physical senses make it seem so very real. But if this is true, then what I'm studying is not true. So my mind, I'm at, you know, a really uncomfortable place. So I need to make sense out of this. And so what there's a temptation to do is to draw truth into the illusion, so that somehow this now makes sense. But he's asking asking us to make that true to now. That isn't, and only this is, and they cannot be mixed. And that's where physical healings occur, where miracles are literal and actually normal. Yeah.
Thank you.
We're getting there. Yes,
Yeah,
we are.
we are.
Mm-hmm.
Patience.
Yeah.
Patience. And can I share a couple more quotes?
I wish you would. That'd be great.
Because it's in this lesson 348. I have no cause for anger or for fear, for you surround me. Right.
Yeah.
But there still can be temptation to fear, right?
Right. Only
So
if you're a body.
well, that's true. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this is from chapter 6. I think it's from the Lessons of the Holy Spirit, chapter 6, section 5. Okay. Certainty is of God for you. Vigilance is not necessary for truth, but it is necessary against illusions. Right? That's why it is so important to practice true denial, understand it and practice it, as well as accepting atonement and doing forgiveness, and also practicing the positive separation, right? So here's another quote from lesson 48, which we did. The presence of fear is a sure sign that you are trusting in your own strength. The awareness that there is nothing to fear shows that somewhere in your mind, though not necessarily in a place you recognize it yet, you have remembered God, his grace that surrounds us, right? And let his strength take the place of your weakness. The instant you are willing to do this, there is indeed nothing to fear. Isn't that beautiful?
Yes. So comforting. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, sis. And that true denial is actually the first part of the forgiveness process that you have given us as a wonderful tool. So I'm quite certain that the 7 steps to quantum forgiveness is down below in the list of resources. Whatever the trigger is, whatever the seeming problem or issue is, taking it through those 7 steps. And the last step is to accept and receive the atonement. So it's all inclusive and it's all set out for you. So please, if you haven't taken the time, it's well worth it.
Thank you. And one thing that was revealed to me just yesterday about true denial that I didn't consciously know was that there is no consistent true denial of the ego thought system until trust is well developed.
Yeah.
That came directly from Jesus yesterday. So I wrote it down. But we still see it's a catch-22 situation, right?
Yeah.
Because we have to learn to apply true denial in order to transfer our trust from fear to love.
Yeah.
So they go hand in hand.
And I can really feel like that first part, that the truth is true and we're all learning about the truth. But the second part has nothing to do with God. It has to do with the purification of what we think we are. So that, this is true, but man, this really looks true too, right? Whether that's sickness or a problem or whatever. And it's never about the actual decoy, but it's in translating your concept of the self that you are identifying with that makes this not true. Makes only the truth is true, and then you can say, and nothing else is true. But that never had anything to do with the problem. It had to do with where you are in the unselfing process of forgiving what you're not and accepting what you are. And the more that you know yourself, truly, capital S, then you stand in your conviction and say, and nothing else is true. Because there's no part of you that's still tempted to hook in to fear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just really felt that. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's that ladder diagram. You know, we all learn the truth and we can become very beautifully spiritualized egos, but it's, are you willing to unself, walk the walk,
Mhm.
live the teachings, embody the lessons? It's you know, it's fun to be at the top there for a while, but it's about, are you in selfless service to the sonship? Is it God's will that governs? That means letting go of the I know mind and the doer and the way you've defined yourself and those things that you thought you wanted to achieve in the world. And the ego goes sacrifice, sacrifice, sacrifice. But the more that you go into what we were just talking about, knowing that God's will, when we allow God's will and accept it, we discover that's always been my will. And I'm actually full of joy and peace and certainty when my will is finally aligned with God's will. I'm not using ego as a substitute will. I'm aligning with my will, with God's. And then there's joy. And life is but a dream. It's easy. You're in the flow. Yeah. Becoming clearer.
Yep. And we're living there more and more now.
Yeah. I got to say, you know, I was the other day just going, I've got a beautiful day ahead of me. I don't have anything planned, but you know, I'm so joyful for my life. I'm so happy with my life. And I could compare it, you know, false memories, but you know, the burden of the mythical me and what it thought it needed and being just driven like a slave under its demands and its pursuits. And I just had a moment of tears of, wow, you know, really, really feeling very free, very spacious, very unburdened. And I'm so grateful.
Ah,
Peace.
thank you.
Yeah, more and more and more. Not there yet, but more and more, and full of gratitude for it.
Mm. Thank you, sis, because as you heal, we all heal with you,
That's right.
right?
Yes, everything we're doing, every little bit we all contribute is creating. There's one mind, and it's becoming a more clearer transparency for Christ to come beaming in. You know, beautiful. Thank you. Which brings me to my next point, which I'm pretty excited, and I finally have permission to announce this. Right, sis?
You're getting married.
Jesus. I hear he's taken, but he's very flexible. Polyamorous.
Polyamorous. That's so funny. Not
No, we're gonna have a retreat. We're actually gonna take me to
an
truth is finally.
in-person retreat.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So
Are you saying in person?
yeah, I'm always pushing for this because I just want to hug you guys. I'm looking forward to having an in-person retreat. It's going to be in 2022 because we're recording these in 2021. But it's all about, you know, anchoring these deeper teachings, obviously. But I'm always finding that it's joining and in the felt state of feeling you and looking into your eyes and holding your hand and just being together. Nothing anchors these teachings like that. I understand that we're not bodies and we don't need bodies, but there's a definite quickening when we do have a retreat. So we're going to be doing that. And if you'll sign up for the newsletter down below, there's a link. Please sign up for the newsletter. That way you will not miss the where and when and what information. But it's going to be, I'm really looking forward to this. I'm going to be big push behind all of this. Thank you. I hope you guys come. I want to meet you. We want to meet you.
Yes. Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, looking forward to that. I think we're probably going to get a lot of our family coming
I
to
hope so.
retreat.
Yeah.
And as far as location's concerned, we're thinking Santa Fe, New Mexico.
That's convenient for me. But you guys will love Santa Fe, northern New Mexico, maybe, and I think we're stabbing for the fall, so that's like the most beautiful time ever out here. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're also heading toward a beautiful spiritual community facility.
Yeah.
You know, that the resources will become manifest and that we will have that place so that anybody from anywhere in the world or even from outer space, right?
Extra
Can-
ETs
Extra
in the
ETs. That's right. Even
ET
ETs.
ET's taking the TTC for TMTT.
So
Even
funny.
extraterrestrials want to take the total transformation course. That's awesome. Why not?
Yeah. Why
We welcome
not?
you. Huh?
I think it'd be wonderful.
Heck
I
yeah.
think it'd be we could teach them all about holy relationship.
Totally.
Yeah.
Dance
And
party.
yeah,
Hmm.
but imagine they could come stay at our retreat center
Yes.
when somebody
Yeah.
finally donates enough to
Well,
build it. It'd be
we've
great.
talked about that the end of death teachings need enough G force, basically, enough of us gathering together with this shared desire and intent to bust through this final block that of the belief in death. So it's not like it's a stronger belief, but it's one that's prevalent in everybody has it. Doesn't make it stronger, but it seems to be more difficult to penetrate.
Hmm.
Yeah, but together we can do it, no doubt.
We are doing it.
Yeah, we're all ready. So, but a community would be lovely. So we shall see.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure it's his will.
I'm playing the lottery.
I
Once
do it every day, the
Do you
free one
really?
online. Yeah. Why not?
Why not? You never know. You never know. Or those
Um,
extraterrestrials will bring us some help.
exactly. Yeah. And just to give you another resource, if you would really like to undo fear and anger,
Mm.
would be the guided meditation, The End of Fear. And that's going to be down there in the quick reference links.
Oh, the end of fear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. That's great.
Yeah. And I
Thank
think
you.
we're done with this.
Yeah,
We've
that's a
done with our
biggie.
lesson.
Thanks, guys. That was lesson 348. I have no cause for anger or for fear, for you surround me, and in every need that I perceive, your grace suffices me. So we don't suffice ourselves, His grace does. We get out of the way and say yes to His will. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time. Have
Thank you,
fun with
sis.
the
Thanks, beautiful family. Thank you.
resources. Yeah. Bye, guys.